table to the right gives the number of passenger car occupants killed in accidents in certain year by car type. Convert the table to a relative frequency table. So there are several ways to do this. Let's use the calculator. So on the calculator, to find relative frequency, as you recall, we are just going to add up. We got to find the total. Sometimes they give that to you. In this case, they didn't, so just get the calculator and add it up, and I got 11,378. Just really be careful that we type these in right. Looks like it's right. Okay, and now I like to find the relative frequency in percent. Sometimes it's decimals, sometimes it's percent, so notice the percent sign's already there. So we're going to do 1268 divided by the total, which was 11,378. Okay, so 0.111, let's multiply that by 100 to get the percent. Or we can simply shift decimal point over 2 places. And it says round to 2 decimals. Now the calculator can automatically round. We can press mode and scroll over and say 2 places. Particularly if I'm going to be doing a bunch of these. And now, let's do it again. Let me clear that off. So 1268 divided by 11,378 and press enter. Actually, let's multiply that by 100. And I get 11.14%. So that's what I'm going to put here. Okay, and I do the same thing for the other ones. So like for the next one, I'm going to do 4245 over 11,378. I'm not going to do the whole thing. We'll just do a couple of these real quick. And I forgot to multiply that by 100. 37.31. Okay, but for many of these problems, I'm going to want you to use StatCrunch to do this. So we'll leave this here. I'm not sure if it'll maintain that or not. So I'm going to go open in StatCrunch. And I'll be honest, StatCrunch is not great with this type of problem. This one's almost too easy for StatCrunch to find relative frequency. Your calculator may be just as easy. So let's open this in StatCrunch. But I wanted to do one where we do that. And Excel is actually a little bit easier. Excel does really good with summary, creating summary statistics and creating categorical visuals, but does terrible with quantitative visuals. And we deal mostly with quantitative. But this one is sort of an odd problem. So in StatCrunch, you can do the same thing. It's not quite as intuitive. So I'm going to go over here to Stat Table, and this is a contingency table, and we have summary data. So I'm going to select my column. In this case, it's called var2. My row labels, if I need them, in var1. And I want percent of total, right? That's what relative frequency is, the percent of each one per total, for the total. Okay, and there it is. So these are the values. Notice let me move this out of the way so we can see how this compares. We have 11.14%, and then 37.31%. The next one, if I had kept doing these by the calculator, would be 31.13. So, with only 5 variables here, not that big a deal to use the calculator, but imagine if we had 20 of these. You wouldn't want to use the calculator on all that. So we could go ahead and complete that with this. So 31.13%. And so on. Okay, the other way is Excel. We can go to Open Excel. It downloads it down here. Not sure if you can see that. Let me move that up. Right here. I'm just going to go and click on that, and it'll open it up. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of Excel in here, but I wanted to show you at least a couple. Okay, so I need to enable editing on mine. You may not need to do that if it's your own copy of Excel. Okay. So now we need to find relative frequency. We often want to find a total, so I sometimes will go ahead and make a total. And we can have Excel automatically do that. So we can use the sum command, actually equals sum, and then we can select it. And so there's our sum right there. Now I want to tell Excel, hey, divide this number by this number and put it there. So there are a bunch of ways to do this actually. I'm just going to do it this way. Put equals if you're going to use a formula. And I'm going to say 1268. Actually, let's not do that. Let's go ahead and just select that cell. So I'm going to select that cell, divided by 11,378. And then press enter. Oop, I didn't multiply by 100. Let's go ahead and multiply by 100 to put it in percent. Okay, and we can round that to 2 places here, just so I don't have to round in my head. There we go. And here's the nice little thing about Excel. I can take this little crosshair and drag it down, and there are my percents. There are a few other ways to do it, like to do this. That's one. Again, we're not going to be using Excel a whole lot, but I wanted to show you one or two examples of a very common spreadsheet that's on a lot of people's computers. Okay, so I just wanted to get you started on that one. I hope that helps.